Paul Taylor grew up relying on Canada's welfare system to put food on his table, and reality that still exists today for millions of Canadians. New research shows that the Black community is 3.56 times more likely than the white community to live in food insecure homes, even with the same income and education levels. Paul is now the executive director at Food Share Toronto, a nonprofit organization that focuses on dismantling the systems that lead to food insecurity. And he joins us this morning. Paul, thank you so much for being here and for highlighting this important story. So take me back to when you were growing up, not knowing if you would eat from one day to the next. That must have had an effect on you physically as well as on your mental health.
Thanks for having me, first of all. And I have to say, of course, I've reflected on this a lot. It was very tough. In fact, I hid how poor we were from my classmates. And it was especially hard not understanding why. Life was hard for my family and so many others. But, for us, in 1995, things changed pretty profoundly. In Ontario, we elected a conservative government that cut welfare by 22%. And that's when there was much less food, no electricity eventually, heat and hot water, and things became really difficult for my family. The silver lining is that I found Food Share.
I think that number that we shared at the top, that the Black community is 3.56% more likely than a white community to live in food insecure homes, even with the same level of income and education. Why do you think that is?
Oh, it's clear. It's systemic anti-Black racism. As you know, it exists in every institution across this country. And when we did this research, we tried to isolate things like home ownership, immigration status, household composition. None of it mattered. As long as someone is Black in this country, we're sentenced to navigate significant barriers just to stay alive, from things as basic as access to food, to housing, employment. These are barriers that have been imposed and reinforced by a system rooted ultimately in white supremacy.
Well, Paul, if I like to ask this as my final question to a number of people when we talk about problems that exist, if you could speak directly to those who control the levers of power, what action would you tell them we need to take in order to increase food security in Black communities?
Well, firstly, we need to make sure that our institutions, programs, and initiatives at every level of government work for Black people. And if they don't, we need to defund and reimagine them. So to do that, the government really needs to commit to the collection of race-based data in every institution, especially those involving the expenditure of public money, and then use that data to inform approaches to combating food insecurity through an equity lens, so that Black people in this country don't have to navigate food insecurity the way that we do now.
Big problems require bold thinking. Paul, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate your time.